There was a major story about a football player bullying another player. Like one player had a mental breakdown and left, and all these texts came out of things that football players say to each other over text message and voicemail.
A lot of empathy.
Yeah. They were offensive linemen too, which amongst football players are the worst of the worst. When
Thank
that comes
you for
to that.
explaining that to me.
Yes.
Because I did need that.
Yeah. It was. I'm sure the texts were things like, if you're non-binary polyamorous, it is okay. Yeah.
The kind of locker room talk.
Yeah.
Nosy Meerkats.
That's what Trump meant by locker room talk.
Locker room talk. Hey, love is love.
Yeah. But yeah, the guy left, and then there was a whole story about how he was bullied out of the NFL. This guy was like the face of bullying, and 10 years later, there was an ESPN article where he's like, I never felt like I was actually bullied at the time. They asked my mom, and she just said that word, but I never felt like a victim of bullying. And now the guy, Richie Incognito, who was the face of bullying, is going off on Twitter, tagging all these reporters like, you're going to take back what you said about me 10 years ago now? He's posting pictures of him and this guy when they were buddies. He was like, was I getting bullied here or was I doing the bullying?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I remember it was a big story, and I'm not really like an NFL person at all.
Yeah.
You're not?
Well, I watched...
Besides looking like a linebacker.
Besides my strength. You know, Matt and I have been going to the gym.
Yeah,
I don't
me
know
and
if I told
Gabby
you.
been working out together.
Yeah, we've been working out, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can believe it. Yeah. I put the leg press up to 140 the other day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did she?
Yeah. I wasn't there for the leg day.
Yeah.
I was there for the bench press. I won't say how much you bench press.
Please don't. It's really, it's really embarrassing.
Okay, but do it in Roman numerals with your hands.
No, nope. I don't want... Lucas...
50? Okay.
Lucas, how much can you bench press?
I've never tried.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I'm stronger than I look. You've seen it.
Have I?
Yeah, arm wrestling.
He's got. I can see him having like wiry strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've arm wrestled?
Yeah.
I was probably pretty drunk.
Yeah, no, it was actually nearby. Don't say the name of the place.
That's kind of like what I do when I get really drunk is I ask to arm wrestle people.
Yeah.
It's a good drunk thing to do.
Yeah.
I disagree.
No, tell me why.
Yeah. Oh, because he broke his arm wrestling. Yeah.
I thought that was just a cool thing your arm did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, talk about it. You fucked up your arm wrestling. Yeah. How'd that happen?
So do you remember the heckle mic?
Yes.
So Sarah Harvard used to run it. It was comics would go up and the whole audience, which was mostly comics, would be heckling also. And so she had me once as like the special guest. So it's like anyone could sign up and then I was the special guest. And Jalon Turner, another comedian, challenged me to arm wrestle, and I beat him easily. And then 6 months later, I'm the special guest again. It's Halloween weekend, and I'm on the show, and Jalon Turner challenged me to arm wrestle again. And I don't know if he'd been training or not, but this time, there's video of it too. I'm at an awkward angle also, and instead of just going down, I start to fight back up and just hear a loud snap.
Yeah.
And at first I look up because I think someone threw like a bottle against the wall or something. Then I look down and see my arm is completely broken.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I knew it immediately. I think a lot of people didn't think that really happened because I just knew. And then I was like, fuck, I broke my arm. And then I'm like, all right. And I'm just in the mode of like, what do we do? And I'm like picking it up. I'm like, someone get ice. I go out of the room. People they didn't see me scream or freak out. So people didn't believe it was real. But because it was Halloween weekend, we're also all in costume.
What were you dressed up as?
Cobra Kai.
Yep.
I look like my outfit was bad karate teacher because I have the rest of the weekend. I have a giant sling.
What was Jerlon dressed up as?
Huh?
What was Jerlon dressed up as?
A nun.
Good.
Good.
Very good.
As soon as he came on stage before the arm wrestling, I said, "Are you dressed like a father because you didn't have one?" And then he broke my arm.
Well, that makes sense. Well, that tracks.
So
Yeah.
Karma did its
Karma
thing.
did its
Yeah,
thing.
that's fair.
Karma did its thing.
Yeah.
That's so. You've had a lot of crazy injuries.
Yeah. I mean, I think just the big two, that and the brain surgery. But I
Yeah.
guess that's two more than most people have.
Yeah, that is a lifetime.
Yeah, and then I had a lot of injuries like growing up playing sports and wrestling.
Yeah.
But those were they weren't major the way the broken arm didn't break the skin, but it was still on stage, an entire audience saw. And then 2 days later, I didn't get the surgery until a week later, but we had Halloween Fight Club that week at the stand in the main room, and I didn't want to miss it. So I was just in a giant sling with still a broken arm and just hosted Fight Club 2 days later.
Oh my God. Do you remember any good roasts that people had about your arm?
I don't remember. I'm sure there were at the time. I don't remember anything specific. I think probably just people saying I did it jerking off, or
Yeah, that's what,
that was
that's what I
Most
was-
just telling the truth.
Most of the questions were people asking me how I was going to be able to jerk off, but and I'm like, I'm a switch hitter, baby. Lefty stepped up.
You're ambidextrous?
I do some things lefty and some things righty. When I play baseball, I'm a switch hitter. I write and
Whoa.
throw right-handed. When I played hockey as a kid, I held the stick left-handed.
Whoa. You should
and
try bisexuality.
Maybe. I don't think I don't want to. I think this is bi erasure here, honestly. Just saying anybody who's ambidextrous can also be bi.
Yeah, welcome.
That is science.
That is science. Welcome to Nosy Meerkats, where we tell everyone they can be bi.
You can do
and
it.
everyone they can be ambidextrous.
Everyone except you.
That's
Yeah.
true. I continue to be erased, but you can be bi too.
Yeah.
One day.
One day.
One day.
Happy President's Day, by the way.
Happy
I
President's
dressed-
Day.
I dressed up for President's.
George Washington. Nice.
Washington.
Oh, washing guns.
He's roiding out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, George has got.
It is crazy that you said that I had the build of an early president when you have that.
Believe it or not, this isn't exactly how George Washington was built.
What?
You're built a little more like the cherry tree.
Dead?
Yeah.
You're built.
Yeah.
I'm built different. I'm built dead.
Yeah. Gabby lies about chopping you down.
That's true.
Yeah.
Guys, we have an amazing guest.
We
You've
have
been
such a
hearing
great guest.
him. He is the commissioner of Comedy Fight Club, the sleeveless wonder of the world, New York Times comedian Matt
Maran.
Maran.
Thank you guys for having me.
You know,
Yeah.
one time at a fight club, Amanda Vasco, a friend of ours, whispered to me, if I were in a coma and woke up and someone asked me to recite the Comedy Fight Club intro word for word, I could do it.
Yeah.
And that is how I feel as well. Yeah.
I'll change up like the opening couple lines every once in a while. When I first started doing it, I had a bunch of different. I always do. Egos will be wounded, feelings will be hurt. Sometimes I'll do hearts will be broken, souls will be crushed. I had a whole bunch of them for a while.
It's
I
like
did
Miranda rights.
Emotions will be torn, legends will be born.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we first started doing it and got it like weekly, and I was like, all right, I want the pageantry and I want the whole like kind of ridiculous over the top opening, because then that sets the tone of everything here is ridiculous. It's all completely out of like exaggerated. So no, like, because then when you're doing roast jokes, you're saying the most awful things ever. And I think once you're almost in a mode of everything's ridiculous, no one's going to really actually get upset by anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It also has so much of the shades of wrestling, which
Yeah.
you
Yes.
did for all those years.
Yeah.
Wait, talk about wrestling. So, like, did you do it in school? Were you just, yeah.
So I started kind of the way I got into I was just loved sports growing up and played baseball was like my first love, but then pretty much any sport I could get to play I would. And there was an after school program where I grew up that had a judo class, and as a kid I watched like WWF, and there was a guy on TV named Taz who they would always say was a judo black belt. So then they offered judo. I'm like, I'm gonna be like Taz from WWF and take judo. And I did that for a couple years. And one of my friends from judo was doing Greco-Roman wrestling, or like amateur wrestling tournaments and training. And around that time, like a kid died doing a wrestling move, and it was in the news. So my parents banned me and my brother from watching wrestling. But when this kid told me he was going somewhere and wrestling, I was like, oh, I'll do that. And I would just tell my parents I was in other after school stuff, because I thought I couldn't let them know I was wrestling.
Yeah, probably not.
Like a lot of kids, I didn't know the difference. So I got there and there's all these mats. There's no ring or steel chairs. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
This is actual wrestling. I remember one of my first days, I remember asking one of my coaches if I could learn how to put someone in the walls of Jericho.
And they were like, "Are you a Christian?"
Yeah. And then so I did my schools never had wrestling teams. My high school actually got one the year after I left, which is annoying because I would have like been all over that. But yeah, I would I would enter these like summer tournaments as a walk-on because I wasn't affiliated with the school. And they would determine like the preseason rankings. So other kids, this is like their whole thing. This is like their preseason, but for me it was my whole thing.
Yeah.
So I had kind of a competitive advantage. So I did pretty well in them. And I had thought about potentially walking on like by the time I got to college. But one of my amateur wrestling friend's older brothers was doing pro wrestling, and I had kind of started watching again in high school because one of my social studies teacher was actually a WWF wrestler.
Wow.
He wasn't at the time. He was wrestling in Japan, but he got fired because he took sick days to wrestle in Japan, and then WWE hired him. So that summer, after I had him, he gets fired midway through the year. I turn on WWE over the summer.
You just see him.
He's doing a teacher character.
I love that idea.
His name is Matt Stryker, and he's like in the ring with a chalkboard in Louisville, Kentucky, trying to sound out words to them because they're all dumb and can't read. It was awesome.
Wait, if he was like a teacher character, did you think? Wait, am I in the cinematic universe?
Maybe,
of this?
yeah, maybe. Yeah. He like came out with like Argyle sweater vests.
He
You
just
were
goes,
like, that's what he wore.
he just goes on stage and he's like, and I want to beat up my dumbest student, Matt Moran.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah,
Watching
but
that.
at that time, when he was our teacher, we knew, like, the other kids would talk and whisper, like, he's a pro wrestler. At that point, I was so into, like, the amateur wrestling. We all think that stuff's fake. We watched when we were kids. And I remember even one time, like, he would just ask a question about history, and I'd raise my hand and be like, is wrestling fake? I was, like, being a smartass. Which then a few years later, when I started wrestling, getting my ass kicked every day, I'm like, this is karma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
but-
crazy to me to learn it was real.
Karma.
I haven't come around to that yet.
That's it. Yeah,
That's
it's an
real.
interesting thing where everyone kind of says like, back in the day it was like, oh, I thought wrestling was real, and then I had to learn it was fake. Now it's the opposite. Everyone grows up hearing it's fake and then learns, oh, actually it's really painful. It actually
Yeah.
does hurt.
Yeah.
They deserve a lot more health care than they're being given.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody does,
yeah.
but them to
Yeah.
a degree.
No,
they-
only wrestlers.
only
Yeah.
wrestlers.
Yeah, not nurses,
Yeah.
just wrestlers.
I
That would be a
never-
hilarious thing for a country to be like, like they have like bullet trains and like greenery on all the walls, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, the only people that get healthcare here are wrestlers.
Yeah. They're the ones who need it.
Yeah, and you see like a doctor being like, nope, they're the only ones that need it.
Yeah.
You're fine. You're a day laborer.
That all the
You have a
doctors should start
bunch
wrestling.
of people in an emergency room with bullet wounds, and they're all shoved out of the way. Wait, this wrestler tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Get him in now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Highest priority for
Yeah.
wrestlers.
I think it's a great idea. We
That's
should
a
do
great
it.
society. Yeah. Lucas, I'd wrestle you.
I could teach you guys some moves. Unless you guys don't actually wrestle, I could teach you some
Yeah,
of
here's the thing. I don't want to wrestle you.
Yeah.
Why?
Here's the thing. I think I could surprise you with some moves, but I think that you would just fall on me and I'd die.
You'd overwhelm him.
Probably true. Well, when I was a little kid, my dad used to teach me like karate moves.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he
I used to take Aikido, so I know.
Okay.
I know how
Yeah.
to use my body in certain ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's pronounced IKEA. I don't know if you know that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Steven Seagal, the Swedish martial arts.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I love Steven Seagal with a burning passion.
I love so through like pro wrestling, I trained like a lot of MMA stuff also just because
Oh, yeah?
I was in an MMA club in college. I had an amateur wrestling background. At the time, MMA wasn't legal in New York until 2016. So I would
what
like
became
train
legal first, weed or no? It was definitely MMA.
MMA, but MMA was legal in like 48 states. There was something with like the New York Assembly had a relationship with the restaurant union in Vegas who had issues with the UFC there. It was a whole political thing.
Oh.
But
Political nepotism, basically.
yeah. So I was training a bit, and there were some people I knew who were like doing amateur fights, but they had to travel to Connecticut or New Jersey. I had a couple of full contact sparring sessions because we couldn't legally call them amateur fights. But at the time I was doing pro wrestling too, and I fell in love with like the performance aspect of it, which is I just grew up playing sports. And it's funny now doing comedy, but I like kind of naturally. I never grew up like theater kid or any of that. I got into performing through learning it through pro wrestling. And then I enjoyed training MMA one, it's a good workout, and also for pro wrestling, I feel like if you're going to be like simulating combat, it's nice to know what the real combat is also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you watch old wrestling before MMA, it had to change because now everyone sees what real fighting looks like. So old chokeholds in the 80s, guys are walking around like, while someone's got them in a chokehold. And now you can watch UFC and you know that's not what it looks
Now
like.
he just dies.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Which
the-
is much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
my
thought
God.
it would add more realism to the pro wrestling I was doing. And also in MMA, your job is to be in the gym and you fight 3 times a year maybe. With pro
my
wrestling,
God.
I got to do what I wanted to do every night. So but I became a big UFC fan through it. Do you know anything about Steven Seagal's like involvement with UFC at all?
I do not. Tell me about it.
So he would just accompany certain fighters to matches. He's just like walking behind Anderson Silva
Just
and
in the entourage.
yeah. And Anderson Silva is talking about him as one of his coaches or one of his mentors. And like he
Wow.
won a fight by kicking someone directly in the face. It was one of those you just like the guy's coming near him and boom, kicks him right in the chin, knocks him out. And afterwards, it was the whole thing was Steven Seagal's the one who actually taught him that kick.
Did he?
Did he need someone to teach you? Boom! Like it wasn't exactly the most intricate maneuver I've ever seen.
Yeah, Steven Seagal taught me how to eat spaghetti.
Oh, he's a guy who could teach you how to eat spaghetti.
Yeah. Well, because also he's I mean, I'm
Fan
a
of the carb. He
Yes.
Yeah.
I am a fan also of Steven Seagal, so I don't want this to sound like I'm like shitting on him really, but his entire thing is basically like marketing.
Yeah.
Like his
Yeah.
And
Aikido,
hair
it's
dye.
like yeah,
And hair dye.
it's
He
like
has jet black hair.
it's like look how a great martial artist I am, and he just has guys walking over, and he's just like boom, 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 and they're all falling over. But you could not do that to anyone who actually knew what they were doing in any way.
No.
But it looks like a great video. It looks like a great video. You just have 10 people walking up to Steven Seagal, and one by one he just tosses them to the ground. It's like a bunch. I mean, all the movie. I mean, above the law. It's
Yeah.
undeniable.
The thing I want most of all is I want like Steven Seagal to do a portrait of what he thinks he looks like.
Yeah.
Because like he's aiming for something,
Yeah.
but I don't think anyone but him knows what that goal is.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's trying to look like, but I know he has a vision.
I kind of wish for everybody that you could view yourself, your self-image could be as good as what Steven Seagal says.
Yeah.
Why not? I feel like that's a good way to go
Yes,
through life.
that is. I just like process what you said. Yes, he
Yeah.
definitely is like a self-image that is so beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, he thinks he looks like me. You know,
I would love it if he thought he looked like me.
Yeah.
he's
He might. Honestly, no matter what shape I've ever been in my life, I've always thought I'm skinny and weak.
it's body dysmorphia.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
That's crazy. Here's no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tiny guy over there.
Yeah,
Ever
no.
notice that?
Yeah, well, because I was when I did amateur wrestling, I was a skinny
Yeah.
kid.
Okay.
So when my last year amateur wrestling, I was like 5'9". I was in the 130-pound weight class.
Okay.
And actually, I was 5'6", and I hit a growth spurt from the time I had signed up for. It was like 4 or 5 months earlier for the weight class. So I was 10 pounds over, and I had to cut weight. Another reason why I didn't necessarily want to get into MMA is because cutting weight, you have to cut weight, and it's fucking brutal. I had to lose 10 pounds, and they just. I mean, granted, this probably wasn't the best way to do it, but I've heard of guys doing this. They're like, oh, you can just do that in a day. So 24 hours before, it's just I drank a gallon of water and then did not take in any liquids or solids for the entire 24 hours. Trash bag over on a stationary bike, just sweating out water weight.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I know Hugh Jackman has done that for like movies.
Yep.
And like that hurts to hear.
Oh, you look jacked by the end of it, though.
no, I know
I
you
will
look-
say.
Because like your skin is just like
Yes.
stuck to your muscles,
Yeah.
and you just but
This
like
feels like the kind of shit they talk about on like. Are you guys familiar with ED Twitter?
Eating disorder Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah. You mean girl Twitter?
thank you so much.
Ally to women, not married. Yeah, I feel so affirmed.
Honestly, through amateur wrestling, I've known more men with eating disorders than women,
I
actually.
believe you.
I believe
So
it's true.
believable.
Eating disorder Twitter is just these people, a lot of women, some men, mostly women, but
Yeah.
they go online and they post like their dinner, and it's like an ice cube and like one
With salt.
Yeah, with a little salt and like one piece of asparagus and like
Yeah.
a big thing of like electrolytes, and they'll be like, hashtag ED tweet, like this is my dinner, and
Yeah.
people will comment being like, ooh girl, like you could cut that asparagus by half, and they like think of it as this supportive community where
Yeah.
they're like all like,
And it's just violence, really.
it's complete violence, and it's crazy because it's like anorexia actually impacts your brain. It like alters your brain chemistry.
That's why hot girls are so dumb.
Shut the fuck up, you piece of shit. You're such a heel. You never stopped doing the damn heel. You are a heel. Oh my god. Wait, how did you get into that? How did you get into being a
No,
heel?
we need a moment.
Wait. Well, I need to analyze this
Yes.
behavior.
No, go on.
I need to know where it
Yeah.
came from.
Oh,
when you were
God.
wrestling, when did you realize it was like fun to do that? Like be the bad guy?
I think like even as a kid, I thought that the bad guy seemed like the fun thing to do. But
You really cooked
Yeah.
Lucas there. Hot girls are dumb. Kill yourself.
by the way, Gabby, you seem so smart today.
Oh my god! One time on the podcast, I was like,
God.
I was trying to compliment my friends, and I said, and they were doing something dumb, and I was like, oh, the minute we get hot girls on the podcast, people act dumb, and people got mad at me in the comments.
For,
Oh yeah, with Irina and
Oh
Britt,
yeah, with Irina and Britt, I was like, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to say they're beautiful.
yeah.
No, you can't call a woman beautiful nowadays.
No,
you can't
not
do
They're
with
gonna
it.
love that I just called Gabby fat though. That's gonna be great.
The comments are gonna shoot back in the comments. What do you really think of Matt Maran? Tell us in the comments.
Although hey, I'll be fair, you only get to call Gabby fat if you've worked out with her.
You know I'm not bad.
I don't want to work out with you. I think I'd have a lot of fun.
We would have fun.
I would
Yeah.
have a great time.
We would have a
You
good
want to
time.
do the three? Next time I go with you, Lucas comes
Please,
also.
I would love to come with you.
Honestly, yes, that would
that
be
sounds like a great
Yeah.
day.
Do you want to do the push day again? So we'll do
yeah.
bench press. Yeah.
We'll do the bench
Please,
press.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
really excited about the bench press too, and then I started doing it. I was like, "This is the hardest thing I've maybe ever done in my life."
Oh, I've been like talking to you like joking stuff, but like you probably can lift more than me. You definitely.
I don't
can.
think so. It was really hard. It was crazy. I mean, I grew up playing like certain sports, but baseball is not the weightlifty sport. Like,
No,
For a long
it's a
time,
hand-eye
they-
coordination
yeah.
sport.
And for a long time, I mean, they wouldn't at all. Like, if you lifted weights in baseball, they would say it like it'll fuck up your swing because it'll make you too bulky. So
Yeah.
like guys like specifically did not lift weights.
Oh no,
in
I'm too big
baseball.
and strong. I
Oh
can't play
no,
the
I
big
can't swing the ball.
baseball.
I'm too big
Yeah.
and strong.
I'm so sorry, coach.
I do think it's funny people think of baseball as like a jock sport when in fact baseball is the autistic nerd sport.
I mean, of all of them, that's the one that was my first one that I was obsessed with, and I
You're
like,
aware
went,
of curling.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Never mind. I take it
That's
all
for
back.
people that like sweeping.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also
you?
within the martial arts world, grappling, guys who do grappling tournaments, those are all like nerds who care about anatomy.
What is grappling?
It's kind of like a combination of
It's hugging.
It's like MMA except without punching.
Okay.
So you're just like one guy will start off on the ground, so it's like jiu-jitsu and wrestling a bit. One guy will start off on the ground, the other one will be on top, and you're just trying to maneuver until someone taps the other one out.
So it's men tenderly wrapped in each other's legs.
If you watched
Yeah.
it, it would be very sexual.
It's-
you
it's
you
your-
would think it's very sexual.
You're trying to treat the other person like a dreidel.
Yeah.
and spin them around.
Yeah.
I think you have a more evolved imagination around this stuff. Perhaps there's some things you need to explore.
But yeah, if you like, you watch these grappling tournaments, then afterwards they're like, after the match is over, they do the post-fight interview. They put on their like little robe with their whatever color belt they are.
love
and
the little
and
robe.
They put their glasses on, and they're like, yeah. So I was going for the arm bar, but then I felt like he was defending that pretty well. I started going for the leg and caught him with a knee bar in the end. Like it's all
Yeah,
so technical.
It sounds like
Wow.
nerd stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was saying that. So I grew up like super skinny, amateur wrestling.
Yeah.
Then when I start doing pro wrestling, everyone's a giant. They're
Like taller,
huge.
wider, what? Yeah.
Everything.
Damn. But there must be weight classes.
Not in pro wrestling. Pro wrestling's entertainment it's a show.
Oh my! Oh, of course. No, go on. Go on.
So
go
it's
on.
more. It's all about appearance and look.
Yeah.
And you know,
Murder
when I watched
Gymnastics Theater.
Yeah, when I watched as a kid, The Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold, they're all like 250, 300 pounds. There were some smaller guys, like Shawn Michaels was like 225 pounds. Like, they would always exaggerate the weights and heights also. So I'm
cool.
like, I'm 6'1". I think I'm technically 6'1.5". I say 6'1" because then it fucks with people who say 6'1" and they're shorter than me.
Yeah.
I used to just say 6'2". But when I wrestled, I would say 6'3" because I wore boots that had like a lift in the bottom.
Nice.
Almost
yeah.
all wrestling boots come with a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, yeah.
And at my biggest, I was probably like 230 pounds, and we would say like 235, or at least two. Even when I was like 190, they started saying 220. They just always
Wait,
make
so
you sound
all,
bigger.
hold on. So all wrestling boots have like a little bit of a lift in them.
Pretty much.
So what you're saying is all wrestlers are 5'7".
They're all
mean, they're-
Kanye.
I mean, some of them have more than an inch. Like, because all wrestling boots in general make you seem a little taller.
Yeah.
And there's some that specifically have lifts that make guys seem even taller. There are some guys who, like, they look jacked on TV. They always shoot them from an upward angle. If you met them in real, and they say 6 feet tall, and they're like 5'8".
That's a lot of celebrities too.
Yeah.
A lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
All the
celebrities
Chris
are-
Hardwick pictures.
Oh my god. Chris, do you remember Chris Hardwick?
I remember Chris Hardwick. Yeah.
That guy was so weird.
Wait,
what-
apparently he was so insecure about his height. His girlfriend wrote a whole thing about him being like manipulative or whatever. And part of it was about how he always had to seem taller than her in every picture. And you see every picture they're together, they're like at a staircase and he's 2 steps up. Or he's like jumping up, like doing a weird pose, but really it's so he could be higher in the air than her. It's like when you
Whoa.
see every
he's
picture.
damaged.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Jumping up as a tactic to seem
Yeah.
taller is
Why didn't
so
he just
crazy.
date a shorter woman?
Yeah.
No,
I don't-
no, this is what I don't understand. You're like, I want to seem taller. I'm going to leap. And
Yeah.
you can only catch me on camera while
you
I'm
imagine
leaping.
if-
Like in High School Musical when they leap in the air for that one photo.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know exactly the promo picture where they're like,
Every
Yep.
time you take a picture, you just have to do that.
Yeah.
okay. Imagine you're dating not necessarily Chris Hardwick,
I
but
can't.
someone. Yes, no, but imagine you're dating someone who's doing that. Can you honestly say you respect him?
I mean, I don't respect men in general, but no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No offense.
Wow, you're gonna take that?
Eh. She's seen how much I bench press. She respects me.
He picks his battles.
Yeah, that's good.
I've said worse.
But so my first like pro wrestling match, I was like 17. I was a senior in high school, and I bulked up a bit. I started training, and I was at like 175.
Wow.
And in training a week before the match, I fractured my collarbone. So I didn't tell anybody because they would have taken me out of the match. So I wrestled my first match with a broken
Oh
collarbone.
my god.
It
That's
was
rough.
fractured. So I
Yeah.
never had it surgically replaced. I just didn't do anything active all summer, and it's
What? Okay, what
Yeah.
does it mean like clean all the way through?
I don't know if that would be like a full break.
Yeah.
So it was just like a crack in it, I guess.
Okay.
So I noticed it. I was learning how to take falls, and you fall like flat on your back, and I kept leaning a little bit on my left side, so my left shoulder was sore. So then I started overcompensating and leaning on my right side, and I guess it fucked with the collarbone,
Yo.
and it was sore. I didn't really feel anything necessarily. I was still in high school. I'm like in my like history class or whatever, and I went to raise my hand to answer a question, and my arm just collapsed.
Yeah.
And
my
I
God.
just like searing pain, and I raised my other hand like through gritted teeth, asked teacher if I can go to the bathroom. I could not move anything below my shoulder. I went to the bathroom, like threw my limp arm in the sink and start running water through it until I can.
This was in history class?
Yes, I'm
Do
in
you
the
think
bathroom
it
in
was
my high school.
your body was saying don't raise your hand because whatever your answer was going to be something racist?
No, I think I was learning about Abraham Lincoln freeing the slaves, and my body just had that reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can't believe he did that.
Yeah.
That guy was so cool before that. He
Your
wore such a
bone
good
went.
hat.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, honest
but,
question:
yeah.
What do you think the next injury is going to be?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I haven't honestly. The brain surgery and the broken arm were like 2 and 10 years, but before that, it was happening often because I was like wrestling and
Yeah.
doing stuff. So I'm not as like I trained, but I never had like a weightlifting injury. which is like by design. Like I never, that would be the worst thing in the world to me because it's like, this is where I go to avoid injury.
Yeah,
This
I've
to make me
seen-
strong enough so I don't, so when guys are like, even like I'll joke and be like, oh, I bench press. I never am doing like, let me throw up 300 pounds for a 1 rep max, or I won't even really do squats or deadlifts if it's like tweaks my back in any way. I'm like, I can be strong doing, there's a whole gym of machines and weights, and if I do 3 sets of 10 on like 200 something pounds instead of trying to do 300 once and fucking up my shoulder, I'd rather do that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that I have seen like someone who's like trying to like lift, and you see the muscle snap and like reel back.
Yes.
within the, it's like it is awful.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was wrestling,
which is why I don't work out.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
honest, although the brain and the arm are the only 2 surgeries I've had.
Whoa.
All the other injuries were I had broken fingers. I had like cartilage damage in my knees. That may be something when I'm in my 40s. I may have like need knee replacements.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But I also stopped wrestling when I was like 22 or so, 21, 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had a doctor tell me like, yeah, your body will get used to it because you're not active, but that damage is still there. So maybe I'll need, but yeah, it was mostly, I broke my nose like 3 times, but that just like, I got very lucky because every time it was just like manually set, and I just don't have like the crooked nose. A lot of times people break their nose once and they have like a dent.
Breaking Jewish
Yeah, like
stereotypes.
Owen Wilson.
The Owen Wilson
He always-
nose.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's why he has that crazy nose.
Yeah. I do have I had a doctor say it was a weak nasal canal. Like sometimes when I get colds,
Are you
I'll
gonna
get
take
nose
that for
You're,
real?
you're
bleeds.
gonna really
Yeah.
take that. You're not gonna punch him in the face.
I mean, I'm Jewish. Getting nosebleeds has kind of been my birthright, I feel.
That's what they say on birthright.
Yeah, that's what they said to me on birthright. Is that once you get back from here, your nose is gonna bleed and your allergies are gonna go way up.
Until you come back to Israel.
Yes.
Make Aliyah. That's how they get you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Until you make Aliyah in Israel, your nose
Yes.
is gonna bleed like crazy. Yeah.
I remember I talked with you when you were like fresh back from your birthright trip.
Yeah, and it was. I remember it. I felt bad afterwards because I had such a fun time, and I was like. I was like 31. I was like they had raised the maximum age up to 32.
Yeah.
They raised it back down because then they realized the older kids aren't going to be indoctrinated in any way. We're just going to go there I was getting drunk the whole time. Anytime, like, there was one girl on the trip who was like a crazy, like, Fox News lady, basically, and the rest of us were kind of like, Jesus, what's, like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I have a friend who's a journalist for an Israeli newspaper who's like, oh, yeah, we're critical of the Israeli government. I'm like, I don't think it's a crazy thing. Like,
Yeah.
but you get a free trip to Israel. Me and my friends are all going out drinking and having a blast. I like history, and I came back and Lucas is just. I mean, you know, I wouldn't do that because they try and get you to like what Israel does to Palestine, and I'm just like, dude, I had this Hebrew beer and it was awesome. Like,
Yeah. They do. Did you find they actually answered your history questions though? Because they didn't answer
yeah.
any of my questions at all.
Did you ask any history questions to them?
They seemed really intent on telling me the Holocaust actually happened. But
You gotta question that stuff.
Yeah.
You can't just let them
Yeah.
say whatever they
yeah,
want.
6 million for sure.
I don't know. I think I need some photos.
Yeah.
I need proof. Yeah, there's not enough proof.
Yeah.
That's the thing with the Holocaust.
That is like the crazy thing is that I think it was like Eisenhower, who I think was like in the army at the time,
Yeah.
World War II. He was like, and he was the one who pushed people to like take photos. We need
Yeah.
to preserve evidence of what happened
Yeah.
here. It's crazy that there really are.
Well, you know
deniers.
who took a lot of photos? The Nazis.
Yeah.
The Nazis were literally obsessed with proving the Holocaust happened. Sometimes Holocaust deniers make me feel bad for Nazis. Because the Nazis worked so hard to be
They
like...
would have been so pissed if people were like, nah, it didn't really happen. Like,
Yeah.
It would be like if you did such a good job at your job.
Imagine erasing a resume.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly
Yeah.
what it's like. Two
Yeah.
completely
There
same
is-
experiences.
I'm sure I've heard someone do the joke of like, like KKK members saying that like the Holocaust never happened. It was like, yeah, that was your biggest win. What are you
Yeah, that's true.
doing? You should be like, we did
Yeah.
that shit.
That's like
And
how
we'll do it again if you don't listen to us.
Aaron has that joke that's like, our friend Aaron, he has this joke that's like, do you ever think Holocaust deniers are like, no, it didn't happen. I wish.
Yeah.
So good.
If only
I
I
think
wrote-
I roasted someone once. I said they look like they're a Holocaust denier because they think it's too good to be true. But
Oh,
yeah,
I wouldn't want to
didn't-
be indulgent.
Right.
No. It's like having
no,
too
I
much
don't-
chocolate.
I mean, the history stuff that I was interested in, it wasn't even necessarily because I think a lot of it was like where there's a strip of road in the middle of Jerusalem that's a Roman road that they just kept preserved from when Rome was there, or like Masada National Park where you're learning it's like Roman history, and there's there was an underground tunnel the Jews built in Israel,
As
which
they
was like
are wont
when
to.
they were kicked out of one area and they still wanted to communicate or like bring goods somewhere. So
Oh,
there
wait,
were,
I
like,
think I
things-
remember this.
Yeah, and we like walked through the whole tunnel. So it was like that kind of history. And
I
stuff.
love that no matter where we go,
No matter where we
We're
go, we be
digging
digging
tunnels.
We're
We'd be
tunneling, baby.
burrowing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
burrowing
getting
like
through.
crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't really ask about any history of like the Israel-Palestine conflict because it's like I don't know. I'll see something in the news and be like, that's bad, but I don't know what else to do about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. I mean, also, I study history in general, and you never know anything of what's going on when it's going on. Usually, you never have all the information. So in the moment, I can like be empathetic and feel bad, and if there is a thing I can do, I would do it. But overall, I'm a little bit more like
yeah.
There's things I felt strongly about 5 years ago that now I'm like, I was wrong there.
Yeah.
One of like the craziest things is like how much anti-Jewish sentiment there was in America before World War. Like
Oh, there was a Nazi
American-
rally in Madison
in
Square
Madison,
Garden.
I was about to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had they packed out Madison Square Garden.
Now
Oh, yeah,
I just
Tony
have now.
Hinchcliffe was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. yeah.
I was going the same direction.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's where
Yeah,
Chris
totally.
Do you know what's
Seven
awful?
was going.
Do you know what's awful? Is I'm going, damn, who was their producer?
Yeah.
We got to get them on the
What's
pod.
more offensive, the swastika or that vicious circle? Whatever Dane Cook had the finger motion.
The what? What with the what? I don't know what this is.
Wasn't there like a Dane Cook? It was like this or something.
Oh, yeah, I think it was like
Yeah,
this.
the
Didn't he do that?
The shocker.
It was I
don't know.
Is that what he does to his fucking 19-year-old wife?
Yeah.
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 The
Yeah.
real
Way to
shocker is that I'm gonna be 45 and marry a 20-year-old.
Yeah. I feel like I sometimes I don't know why I get this, but he comes up on my For You page sometimes.
Dane
Yeah.
Cook?
Yes, and the jokes.
Maybe he's single.
Yeah, maybe the jokes
You're
he's
too old for him.
I know. The jokes he's telling are like, my wife is so young.
Yeah.
Like that's it. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
He is doing a lot of material about it. In
Yeah.
a way where I think he's trying to like instead of like avoid the issue, like dive head first and like
Yeah.
but it's I don't think he's really realized. He was like, no, this is still really weird, man.
There's some things you don't have to yes and. Like,
Yes.
A lot of times at Fight Club, someone will be roasted for something where they're like, you're racist, you're a pedophile, and they'll be like, I'm such a pedophile that, or they like try and tag it, and I'm like, no, you don't have to do this.
Yeah, Lucas, stop doing that.
Well, I really should just stop doing the pedophilia.
Yeah, I know. About damn time.
Yeah.
I'll do it a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait, in terms of your injuries, the arm and the brain, which came first? The arm or the brain?
The brain or the arm.
The brain or
It's the old chicken or the
egg,
egg question.
Yeah.
The brain was 6 years ago now, a little over 6 years ago. It was 2018.
Yeah.
What made you realize you needed? Like what happened?
I was having like mood swings for like 2 or 3 months straight. But I was dealing with personal stuff also, so I was like mad or upset at things in my life that are things if I explained to somebody at the time, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like a thing you should be upset about." So it took like a month or two before I was like, I know, like every day I was mad or sad or happy. I was like all over the place, and like friends of mine, I'd be sending like walls of text to, just being upset, getting very impulsive. Where like almost, you ever had a moment where a friend does something and you're like, I wonder if they mean this by it, and then you're like, nah. Or if you ever like write out the long notes so you don't say it out loud. I was just sending all those every first thought.
Where in the brain was it?
It was in the back of my brain against the cerebellum.
Okay.
So the main thing that was thrown off was like balance and other stuff, but it was bleeding a lot, so it affected kind of everything. So I was having these like mood swings, and after like 2 months, I'm like, let me see. I had concussions from when I wrestled. Maybe it's a long-term effect of concussion. I went to a concussion management clinic in the city, and they tested me for everything, and everything is like off the charts bad. So I noticed like the mood swings. But then there were certain things where like, oh yeah, there was a few times during Fight Club when the light would be directly in my eyes where I would feel dizzy, or just on stage in general. And then it was like, oh yeah, sensitivity to light is a major thing. They would do these like tests of things you just wouldn't do in everyday life, like standing on one leg and all, and I was like really bad at it.
Wow.
So, I mean, I've talked about when I tell the story on stage, this sounds like a bit, but it's completely true. They gave me a symptom test, and the higher your symptom score, the worse. Usually people are between a 0 and a 5. Immediately after a concussion, you might be at like a 20. My first day in there, my score was 69.
Nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Wow.
Boom.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And you
but
were like,
also,
don't change anything. I've got a
Yeah.
perfect brain.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, it was all
It's for
these
the
different
bit.
things. Yeah.
Matt like taking a hammer to his brain.
Yeah.
No,
Let's get to 420.
This is gonna be really good. I
Yeah.
can't walk, but it'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, go on.
They
go on.
gave me like electrostem therapy. They put like a contraption around my head that gave like a light electric current to my temples, and I started feeling really wide awake. And they were like, "That's how you're supposed to feel normally. You're foggy 24/7."
Wow.
Yeah. And so I do this treatment for like 6 weeks. All the symptoms are getting better and all. And my mom told me you should go to a neurologist and see if what they think of it.
Yeah.
And so I go to this neurologist who also, it sounds like I'm making up. He was also a pro wrestler, like back in the day.
Is everyone?
Yeah.
What is going
He
on?
was. I mean, he's a doctor.
Matt,
Yeah.
you're not gonna
But-
believe this.
Yeah.
Let's say it on 3.
1, 2, 3.
3.
We're
wrestlers.
pro wrestlers.
Oh, you guys are that tag team, Hakuna Matata.
Timon and Pumbaa, who's who? Lucas, you're such a great Pumbaa, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah.
God damn.
But yeah, so he's a doctor, and he worked in Philadelphia where there was like an independent wrestling company back in the 90s called Extreme Championship Wrestling, and he was their official doctor. And so he was at all the shows, so they trained him a little bit, so he actually got involved. So he would like, when I could tell him my old concussion stories, he knew, and I'm like, I took a flat back and hit the back of my head on the floor, and he's like, oh yeah, Balls Mahoney hit me in the head with a steel chair one time, and I didn't protect myself, so I got a concussion from that. Like, yeah.
Balls
is-
Mahoney?
Oh, yeah, there was a pro wrestler named Balls Mahoney.
That is so cool.
Does he have a brother called Penis Mahoney?
Yeah.
More of a cousin.
More, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he
Was it related to wrestling?
no, so he tells me you're doing all the right things with the concussion management, you've taken all the right steps. In case so we all thought it was concussions, and he said in case there could be bleeding sometimes from long-term effects of concussions, so he sent me up to get an MRI. I get an MRI, and that's when they find this thing that I was just born with that's just a massive growth. It's called a cerebral cavernoma, or an AVM, arteriovenous malformation, and it's a malformation of blood vessels. Whoa. Like when your brain is formed, a couple of blood vessels tangled, and that little thing, like a rubber band ball, just kept getting bigger my entire life.
Oh my god.
It's
Yeah.
usually found in either kids or autopsies.
Wow.
Kids like dizzy and having issues, and
The
they
two
get
genders.
looked at it. Yes.
Are you a
kids and
kid or are you an
Autopsy,
autopsy?
that's the
Oh, you're
only
non-binary? Not in my house.
But yeah, so they they find it's this thing that was usually, if you ever hear a story of someone in their early 20s like having an aneurysm or a stroke and dying, they probably had what I had. It's like less than 1% of people have it. I was 28. They couldn't explain how I had lived that long with it. They said I
That's
wouldn't have made it past
insane.
30. Like, yeah, all the crazy
Yeah.
like stuff. And then but at the time they weren't like telling me this. The woman comes out of the MRI machine. I go into the waiting room, and they're like, "Oh, we need you to go into this waiting room. It's a second waiting room that no one else is at," which not great. And
Yeah.
then they go in the room. She just has a horrified look on her face, like, "You need to go to the ER, like right now." we don't know what this thing is, but there's a growth in your brain. I go into a
That's
pack.
like top 10 scariest things you can hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, I remember it was the night the Bucks were playing the Warriors. It was I took off. I was
course
off
that's
that.
what you-
I was off that night. I thought I was gonna get back home after this MRI as a precaution and get to watch Giannis versus Steph Curry. And then I'm in the ER and it's packed. And they look at my paper and they're like, "Oh, you can go right in." I'm like, "That's also not good."
That's not
God.
a good sign. That can be the wrong answer. Yeah.
They like turned a closet into a makeshift room for me. I'm like, they really wanted to get me in here.
Wow.
Damn.
And then it's like an hour later, this guy comes in and he's like, "You're gonna need brain surgery."
Like immediate brain surgery right then.
They're
and
like,
there.
"No, not there." They said, because the surgeon, I don't know if he wasn't. It was a Friday night. I ended up having the surgery on Tuesday. They were saying the estimate to do it like Monday, Tuesday, but
Which
because,
hospital was it?
Long Island Jewish.
Oh,
Yeah.
classic.
I don't even know there was a hospital just named Long Island Jewish.
Yeah.
It's just a Jewish guy being like, "What do we name it?
Long Island.
What am
They
I?"
painted on their house. They're like, yeah, it's a hospital.
Long Island parentheses Jewish, or just Long Island with 3 parentheses around it.
Oh my god.
But
so you
yeah,
go in.
then
How
I
long
go
was the surgery?
like 6-7 hours. It was supposed to only be like
Okay.
4 or 5 hours, but apparently my dad told me when the surgeon came out, he's sweating. They were like, this thing was really stuck in there. Like it took a while for them to they had to yank it out of the back of my head.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that so much.
I love
of
that is it a little bit like opening a jar, like, no, get another guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you think these people are like, for these highly trained technical people, it turns out it's just brute force.
Yeah. My surgeon was a bro also. He was cool.
Was he
this,
also a
big,
pro
He was this
wrestler?
no. He was this big fat bald guy who would come in chomping on protein bars.
Oh hell yeah,
That's
Cool.
awesome.
There was a bunch of people I like posted about it. So by the way, the most likes you'll ever get in your life on social media. If you ever, highly recommend getting brain surgery for the engagement.
I'll go.
But so it was nice. though.
FYP.
Brain surgery for Algo.
Yeah, I am glad I did post because then a lot of people were like visiting me and sending me stuff.
That
That's
is nice,
good.
And
yeah.
an ex of mine sent me like a big like gift basket.
That's very nice.
Derek Jeter.
yeah, yeah. The Derek Jeter.
Do you know
gift
about
basket.
this? One of the big rumors about Derek Jeter,
Is it he's gay?
No,
No.
Former New York Yankees shortstop is that he would have one night stands with women, and then he would gift them afterwards a gift basket.
Yeah, with like Yankee memorabilia and signed
Yeah.
autographs.
He in his documentary,
Why is he giving out calling cards?
Yeah.
in his documentary, he said it wasn't true. He was
Yeah.
like, "Where do people come up with this stuff?" But there's
He has a
another.
coupon for edible arrangements.
Yeah.
He's,
Yeah, he's just like he's got them on speed dial.
he has
Yeah.
a black card for them.
But there's another rumor about him that he didn't deny in the documentary. Do you know which one? Yeah, Jeets.
Oh, the herpes? Oh, yeah, Jeets.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I heard a rumor that he'd spread herpes around, but I don't think they brought that up in the documentary. The yeah, Jeets is the, yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't deny it. They didn't bring it up in the doc, but he didn't deny it. So yeah, Jeets there was a Reddit post that was like, if you slept with an athlete, tell us about it. And this woman goes, one time I was dating Derek Jeter and we briefly lived together, and I came back into the apartment and Derek Jeter was shirtless watching his own highlights and pounding his chest going, yeah, Jeets, yeah, Jeets.
That's how I watch Back Comedy Fight Club, by the way.
Yeah, Jeets, yeah, Jeets.
Well, I mean, okay, to a point, like, there are days or moments where you just, like, look back at, like, your old stuff, like,
Yes.
if it does really well, and you're just like, ah, fuck yeah.
I've
Like,
looked back at my like brain surgery posts way more than I should. It's just so much love coming my way. How could you not?
That's really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing, of
Yeah.
course.
So when you got out of brain
Well,
surgery,
I was
yeah.
just gonna finish with the gift
Oh, yeah.
basket. So this ex sent me a gift basket, which is super kind of her. We're like still on good terms, but the surgeon comes in shouting on his protein bar, and he's like, "Ex-girlfriend sent that to you?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I wouldn't eat that," and walks out.
Jesus, man, what did you do? Whenever a man says stuff like that, I'm always like, his ex should kill him, right?
Yeah.
I love that there are horrible guys.
But he's also like one of the best brain surgeons in the country.
Oh, I believe
who
it.
saved my life.
Well,
So it's
there are
kind of
also,
like, yeah.
there are also terrible people who are good comedians.
That's what I was getting. Yeah.
There's probably like You know how there are like chuckle fuckers? Like, imagine there's like a brain surgery guy and he just pulls in women because he's so good at brain surgery.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, like women have a thing for doctors. That's like a known archetype
That's the whole
of like.
It Ends With Us, the Blake Lively movie that's blown up now.
I watched it. Did you
Yeah,
watch
I've
it?
seen it. Yeah.
I haven't seen
the whole.
it.
It's all. She's like the guy is a hot neurosurgeon in it.
It's genuinely crazy. It's crazier than the lawsuit. The movie.
No, I think the lawsuit's a little crazy.
Wait, what is that? I actually don't know the lawsuit.
Okay, so basically, it started with Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively like unfollowed each other on social media, and they're the two leads of
That's
this
where
movie.
it all
now I
starts.
need
That's
to
where-
cry.
Yeah, that's where it always starts.
And then it was
The Unfollowing. There's going to be a hard name of a horror movie one day.
it's from Justin Baldoni's perspective. He's like, they all unfollowed me.
Yeah.
Jump in at any point if I'm wrong about any of
Okay.
this. But like, so they unfollowed each other, and it turned out that it was because Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni had been creatively disagreeing on the direction of the movie for some time.
Okay.
And then while all of this was happening, all of these articles came out like smearing Blake Lively, being like Blake Lively was a
Well-
monster, horrible to work with on set.
Okay.
That was what happened first.
Yeah.
But then,
Okay. Yeah. So I kind of became aware of the story after. At a certain point, I remember the stories coming out about Blake Lively being difficult to work with. I didn't even know that. I didn't even connect that with this. That was
Yeah.
just a thing I saw trending online randomly at one point.
And then Blake Lively basically countered by engaging some lawyers or something to somehow they were able to subpoena the text messages of a company that Justin Baldoni was working with to smear her reputation.
I think that came later. Because
Yeah.
Because there was the whole thing. Blake Lively. The first thing I heard about this was that Blake Lively was suing the production of Justin Baldoni for sexual harassment.
Yeah. So
that was the first thing I heard.
That was the first thing, yeah. So
Yeah.
it was, well, first it was all these articles came out about her. Then she sued for sexual harassment. Some of the things she
Yeah.
alleged were like, he would make these comments to her that were, I don't know, they're not funny, but they're like so crazy, just admit. He'd say things like, I don't know that every time I hooked up with a woman, I got consent. And it was like on a Tuesday at just 8 a.m. in the car.
Well, he has a podcast about like what real masculinity is. He's one of these
Yeah,
like
oh, no, I've seen clips
he's like
of that,
this
yeah.
Hollywood guy who's like talks about toxic masculinity. What is being a man really? He's like the male
Yeah.
feminist type.
What is
I
being
saw
a
his
man?
TED Talk.
Yeah.
All men rape.
Yeah.
You know, some
It's
of
like-
us are just smarter about it.
Yeah. So when he's like, back, I don't even know if it was consent back at, like, I was just so wrapped up in this idea of masculine. I'm glad I'm so much better and kinder now. It's like that type of thing. Like, all those type of people are manipulators.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
Yeah.
There was also Blake Lively alleged that like this is kind of a weird gray area thing, but so there's a scene where she gives birth and there was like a very thin cloth over her genitals during the birth giving scene, but basically Justin Baldoni didn't hire another actor. He hired like his friend to be like the gynecologist who helps her give birth to the baby. So he just like hired randomly his best friend to like look at Blake Lively's vagina, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. There
Is that how
were-
bad SAG contracts have gotten? They're like, we really can't afford to get a professional.
They should
I've
have
got
used
Dave.
AI.
Yeah.
Should have used AI.
Apparently, like, yeah, and then so there's stuff that's now come out. Now Justin Baldoni's side put out like a whole website countering a lot of her claims.
They got a Squarespace subscription?
Yeah. But yeah, I wonder if Squarespace sponsors his podcast. But, yeah.
I now want to know like the builder or like how
Yeah.
like who built the website. I'm
Yeah.
very curious. Wait, no, but go on. Yeah.
GoDaddy.com.
WordPress. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I'll kill WordPress with hammers.
Apparently, like, she said that she was insecure about her weight after she had given birth in real life, and then he was like went to her trainer and asked how much she weighed, which was an inappropriate question. And then his side comes out that he had recently had like a back injury, and there was a scene where he had to lift her, and he was just concerned if he'd be able to lift her, and that's why he asked her trainer.
I'm sorry, that's so crazy. There's no way she weighs over like 150
yeah,
pounds, and
yeah.
this guy is ripped. So
Yeah.
like, clearly he was just asking because he felt like asking. you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, Who
Yeah.
knows? There was also apparently she said he would show porn to people on the set, and then apparently he says that he was showing like a video of a birth
Yeah.
to like for the scene.
I mean, I have shown Pokemon porn to my friends.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't show it
I
on a
usually
set.
do Mario and Princess Peach
No, but
porn,
I
but we're on the
chose-
same wavelength.
But I chose to get naked for that when you
Yeah.
showed that.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. You gotta
but-
show me that porn after
Yeah.
this, by the way.
There seems
All right, we're
yeah.
all watching porn after.
Yeah. But yes, there's like a back and forth now of where like Blake Lively comes out with her side, and everyone, I think just the way everyone reacts to stories like this is Blake Lively accuses a guy of sexual harassment, and there's things in there that sound like a thing that I've been through, so I'm on her side. I side with this person who I identify what's going on. Justin Baldoni comes out with the website countering a lot of the stuff, and then there's a lot of guys who are like, I've been in a situation where a girl has had her own issues and then said I was doing a bunch of stuff that I never intended to or never meant, and they all side with him.
Yeah, it's
no
like-
one actually knows any of the people involved.
Yeah, it's just like people
Yeah.
identifying with whoever they feel most strongly about in the moment.
Yes.
Oh, and then Ryan Reynolds is involved.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
And
because they're
potential-
married.
And
Because they're-
potentially Taylor Swift.
Yes. So
Because she used to be Wait, why is she involved?
So Ryan Reynolds is married to Blake Lively.
Yes.
And apparently at one point Justin Baldoni is over at their place to go over some potential script change ideas in in the film, and there is an unnamed like big name friend of Blake Lively's who also was pitching ideas apparently. And that was rumored to be Taylor Swift, who once Justin Baldoni's like website came out, and now kind of the public online opinion has shifted a bit from at first it was kind of just all these accusations sound crazy, fuck this guy, to wait, isn't Blake Lively terrible on set? People have said Ryan Reynolds is an asshole. Wait,
Yeah.
this is a different side of the story. Public perception is shifting. Apparently Taylor Swift has now distanced herself from Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
is
Guys,
so
we
funny.
need to get out of their business and just let the law take care of it.
I just love the idea of Taylor Swift being like, she's one of Blake Lively's good friends, so she's sort of been like, I'm the supportive friend in all this. I love the idea of her being like, I'm not getting involved in all that. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift has been making some good choices.
Girl, fuck
recently.
you. Yeah.
I like what she's been up to. I like what she's doing.
What are the choices have you
Okay,
been?
well she's just jamming out watching
Yep.
Kendrick win a Grammy.
Yep.
She got for all I know, like she's in a good relationship and they
Yeah.
love each other very much. I think she's just doing good.
His
Yeah.
hair plugs, though. I'm sorry.
Travis Kelce's.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
hair plugs?
Oh my God.
Turkey?
Lucas.
Or-
yeah, he went to Turkey for sure.
Oh, okay.
He definitely. I mean, because he was bald, and then suddenly he has like a thick head of hair. It's like, and it's like in parts of his head that were never growing hair before. So
Like the
it's-
eyeball? Imagine hair just like
Yeah.
Imagine going to Turkey and you just start like, yeah, I wanted more ear hair.
Yeah. No, I am a Swiftie, by the way. I am a Taylor Swift fan, and I am a big fan of her relationship with Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I think it's my two worlds melding. It's me
Yeah.
liking Taylor Swift and being a jock. Like,
That's
Are you a
true.
genuine Taylor Swift fan?
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's it started off as kind of so when I started traveling for wrestling, the guy I traveled with was from upstate New York, and it was all country music. So that was around the time when Taylor Swift first came out. She was like the young country star.
Right,
So
yeah.
at first I didn't really like when she started doing more pop stuff, but then it was just like, honestly, a lot of I think I've told you this before. My workout playlists are either like heavy metal, like Rob Zombie, like Limp Bizkit, like Pantera, or it's all girl pop music.
Yeah.
So a lot of the Taylor Swift stuff just has like a fun beat to it. And then just the more it's like, you almost like jokingly, I'm like, yeah, I listen to Taylor Swift. And then you look and it's like, I can't really joke about it. I have a lot of Taylor Swift songs here.
Yeah.
And,
Do you have a favorite Taylor Swift album?
It's probably one of the early ones. 1989 is a little bit more recent.
That's good, yeah.
Fearless was like one of my favorites, but
yeah.
Speak Now also. Actually, Speak Now might be my favorite.
I liked her country era a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you ever Swiftie, Lucas?
Nope. I was recommended to listen to Taylor Swift. Like a friend of mine said, it's not that she's speaking to you, she's speaking for you.
Yeah, I never got into it like that. The way like some of those people
That's
are like,
awesome.
You're like, I don't
Yeah,
feel
because,
like
like,
is
I
shit.
I never had the parasocial relationship with her the way a lot of people do.
Here's the thing: is that when I listen to music, I really rarely listen to the lyrics.
Yeah.
It's all about like the beat, the melody, and
Yes.
just like
And Taylor Swift is like a lyrics person.
yeah,
so
she is a hardcore lyrics person, and that is
Yeah.
what you're there for. And it's really when I tried listening like all the way through an album, I just naturally like my brain just wanted to focus on the music of it.
Yeah,
and, like,
I feel
everything else.
bad because like Tortured Poets Department's the recent one that came out, and that one there's not really any on there that are like catchy and beats. Like I listened to all of them, and then I'm like, I appreciate this. None of them are like on the playlist really because
Yeah.
I'm dumb. Also, I'm like, I just want to hear "Say You Belong with Me" and "All You Are Is Mean," like just
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
hits, just the beats.
Yeah, and I was so distracted.
Yeah.
and I had to like remind myself, oh no, you're listening, and it felt like homework.
Yeah.
And that's and so I respect her,
Yes.
but I find it
Yeah.
I find it difficult to get into it.
But I do like her relationship with Travis Kelce because it's we
he's
were
funny.
Yeah, he's
I
funny.
like how
Yeah,
funny
I like
he
it.
is.
And also,
she
I
is a-
think
yeah.
for like 10 years, she was always dating like the actor and the
Yeah.
sensitive guy. And like, we were talking a little about this at the show last week that nerds, like everything shifted to nerds.
Yes. Oh, we had a really good discussion that
Yeah.
like the sort of the spectrum of men has, you know how like the political spectrum is like there was like left wing and right wing maybe, but like how everything is shifted.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Let me explain it to
Please
you.
explain it to me like
Well,
a man.
everything is shifted to the right, where Democrats
Yes.
are now like centrist, and then the right wing went uber right.
Yeah.
So like I believe that the spectrum of like what men are has shifted towards nerdy, where there
Yeah.
were like nerds and there were jocks, but even jocks are now a little bit nerdy
I've been
about
doing
being
a
jock.
joke about that.
And how
yeah.
nerds are now assholes.
Yes.
Yes.
Like there's like I get a lot of like exercise and fitness like Instagram and like stuff in my algorithm, and so much of it are like memes of dudes like me lifting 135 pounds, the guy benching no problem, me trying to talk to 135 pounds, not being able to talk to a woman. It's like there's like incel workout guys. It's like
Yeah.
everyone's kind. It's like fun to be nerdy in a way, and so I think some of that was like 10 years like. Taylor Swift is dating all the like kind of nerdy guys, the pale actor or whatever.
Yeah.
And now she's dating a football player who's just a fun guy.
Yeah.
And
Just
a
it's
chill
like,
dude.
yeah, he's just a chill, fun
What
guy.
happened to fun guys?
Yeah.
I'm so serious about that.
Yeah.
Oh, you like mushrooms?
Lucas. What episode is this?
Yeah.
this is the last one.
Yeah.
It's
But
over.
yeah, there's
over.
I think it is like there is a little bit of a shift where even like I'm doing a joke also about like kind of the jock nerd, like making fun of nerds for being assholes, and people react to it well more now than they would have 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think more people are noticing.
Nerds
probably
are
because-
bad guys now.
Probably because Elon Musk and Vivek are not exactly giving nerds a great name right now.
Yeah,
Oh
no.
my god. Well, there's something about the way straight men react to Elon Musk is like so disgustingly horny.
What are you noticing? They're horny for him and what he is and what he does.
Oh my god. Every Elon Musk post, he'll be like, I'm at the park with my child, and it's like, he's so lucky to have you, Elon. I wish everyone could have you like that. It's like, you're scaring
This
me.
thing, these are all guys that are like nerds. Like all the like.
Yeah.
I would
'Cause to-
rather have a dead dad than an Elon dad.
There's
Because
that,
like
yeah.
there was a thing Elon like a couple months ago, he like lied about being top 20 in the world in a video game.
Right, yeah, I
It was a
heard
big
this.
thing where I'm not much of a gamer, so correct me if you know better than me on any of this, but apparently he just like said his name popped up in the leaderboard, and it was a thing where you would have had to play like hundreds of hours in order to get up there. And then so people called him a liar. So we did a live stream to show that he knew what he was talking about. And just the way he was talking about things, people could tell he didn't know what he was talking
Yeah.
about. And it was just clearly he busted as a liar. And that's like, to me, the example of like everything shifting over to everyone being a nerd is that like to seem cool, people are now lying about being one of the top video game players in the
Yeah.
world. Like, whatever happened to lying about being All-American in high school or something?
There's
Like,
also something about, so the shift with Travis Kelce is really interesting. I think because recently he's walked back some of it, but he came out as like sort of a liberal. Like he's
Yeah.
like pro-vax, and he like supported Dylan Mulvaney and all of that.
He was just, yeah, he was like in Pfizer commercials. Dude, I like, when Taylor Swift first started dating Travis Kelce, I was on a show, it was like a panel show, and I talked about how happy I was. I was like, as a Swiftie, I'm happy she's finally dating a real man. And I'm like, this is going to shift things back for guys like me. If you can't bench 200 pounds, you don't get laid anymore. That's the new society we're in, thanks to Taylor Swift. Just this whole rant. So many comments online were just people like, you're calling him a real man after he got the jab? This guy's not a real man. He's a sellout for
my
Pfizer.
No, literally, like, and then there's people who are like, I think because we've gone so conservative, there's a lot of people who are like, if you're not just like having a family and children and like trying to like get laid or whatever, like you're like, so the idea is that like he's
Elon loves family so much he's got 6 of them.
So the idea is like Travis is playing a game, so he's not serious about his life. This is like the new conservative thing, is like football is just a game. Like the real conservative life is family.
Oh,
What?
yeah, I saw some of that, but I don't
I thought
think
the
that
American dream was to be a football
exactly.
star.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
I
the
saw some
goalposts
of
have
that.
really shifted.
I saw some of that, but I immediately then saw people being like, okay, you're going a little too far here if you're trying to get conservatives to not like football. Like, what are we doing here?
No,
Yeah.
but that's like happening now. Is like
Some of them, but
yeah.
that's a little bit of the thing of like everyone kind of becoming a nerd. Those are just nerds who were conservative. That's like Ben Shapiro conservatives. But
Yeah.
John Wayne conservatives are still out there and they're going to watch football.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly respect them more.
Yeah.
The Ben Shapiros of the world really scare me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want someone with.
That's how Ben Shapiro conservatives and John Wayne conservatives. That we need that. That
Yeah.
should be the official
Have you seen Ben?
label.
Have you seen? I saw a video of him like talking about the halftime show with Kendrick, and he's like, a lot of people had a good time watching. I don't think a lot of us could really understand anything that he was saying.
Yeah.
Because like I'm a fan of Beethoven and Bach. I don't believe that rap is music. He's like, he doesn't think that Kendrick is a musician, and he doesn't think that that what he did was understandable.
Wait, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Does he want Beethoven playing at the halftime show?
Thank you so much for saying that. That is exactly what I needed to think about,
Yeah.
and I didn't think about that. Thank you, because that is so
Yeah.
right.
I like Beethoven. Does he
How
want-
did I not? You are so right.
Shut the fuck.
And, no,
What?
and Ben Shapiro is just like, he's like, woof.
Yeah.
Why is this breaking me?
It's also so my dad is a classical musician, like
Oh, yeah.
played piano his entire like Juilliard graduate.
should
He
do the
legitimately
Super Bowl.
does listen to like Beethoven, Mozart and everything. He's not going to enjoy that Super Bowl halftime show, but if I talked to him about it, he'd be like, yeah, he like always, whenever anything modern music comes, he quotes, there was like a composer back in the day who was talking about like modern piano players, and he said, it's a different language to me than what I know, but it wasn't judgmental of it at all. And that's the way my dad is about any of it. It's such a weird thing to me in general when it's like, I like this thing, and now other people are liking that thing, but I don't understand it. So no one should understand it.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
That's Ben
why?
Shapiro's whole world.
Yeah.
Can I tell you one thing that every now and again, like something will happen where I'm like, unfortunately, I do want to hear what he has to say about
Oh,
it.
I know. I get that. I, in general,
Like the Wicked movie, I was like,
Yeah,
yes, I
yes.
do want to hear what you have to say about
yes,
this.
I feel that way about like even like terrible. Like when there's like I just watched the Gabby Petito documentary on Netflix, and I'm like the parents of the guy who killed her, like kind of seems like covered for him. They're not a part of it. I'm like, I want to hear that. I want to hear the guy explain to me what happened. I always just want to hear. I'm like, I don't understand this mindset that this person's in, so I want to hear you explain it. I've like every once in a while, I like watch those like interviews with serial killers or people on death row. I watch like one or two, and then I'm like, this doesn't go down a good path if I keep doing this.
Probably.
But I'm so curious to just like ever hear like what is that I have no comprehension of what it's like to think or feel that way.
And that's a really good thing to
Yes,
say.
it is. But it makes me curious to like hear any of it. Even
Yeah.
I'm like when
You never killed Gabby Petito?
No.
Not once? No.
But even like with history stuff, I'm like, we were joking before, like Nazis would be pissed that we like
Yeah.
didn't have if people didn't believe him. Like, yeah, let me hear a Nazi talk about why he believed what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. How do you? I mean, in general, one, I'm curious how someone gets there. It can help prevent it in the future, and also it's I don't know. I think it's natural to be a little curious about things you don't understand.
I want to know. I want to hear from someone who went to school with Hitler.
Yes, exactly.
Be like, his paintings weren't that bad, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He pooped himself in 2nd grade and never really got over it.
Yeah, that's exactly like I was watching.
A Jewish kid made fun of him.
Yes. No, I was watching it was actually pretty sweet. It was like it was a Holocaust documentary, and there was someone who went to school with Anne Frank. And it's really funny. She was just talking about how horny Anne Frank was.
Yeah.
Like she was just like always about like she was like, do you have an older brother? Is he cute? Like what?
Yeah.
And like she was like
That's
she was a
kind of
little
what's
horn
nice.
dog.
That's kind of what's nice now about like in the Gabby Petito documentary, they have a bunch of classmates of theirs and friends. Like today, we're in the world of like media and all, so you do actually have that.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ben Shapiro, keep churning out great
Yeah.
stuff.
Ben Shapiro.
Honestly, yeah.
We love you.
We love you.
yeah.
And we love some other people as well.
Who do we love, Lucas?
We love our listeners and our viewers, and they have submitted some stuff that they would like us to talk about.
Okay.
All right, we got listener. Lucas, will you hand me my phone?
Yes, right.
Yeah. So listener submissions are like, sometimes we give people advice, or sometimes like they just write in random stuff and we just sort of comment on it.
I've submitted before.
Have you?
Yeah, you answered one of my questions before.
Oh right, I do. I remember.
We can talk off air about it.
I remember.
I don't think the person it's about would listen, but still, just to be safe.
I recall.
Okay, wait, let me pull it up. I am pulling it up. And I'm so fasted. Okay, here, I have one pulled up right here. Okie dokie. Howdy, it's my first year in college, and dear God, my roommate is pissing me off. So my solution is to complain to my meerkats. I chose to have my roommate randomly assigned, and I ended up with an international student from China. She is okay as a human being, but not for me in a living situation. First of all, we just don't talk much.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
I feel like you should start off with something a little worse, and then get to and at the end be like, also we don't really talk much, but so far I'm not really seeing the issue.
Yeah. Our schedules don't overlap much, and usually when we see each other, one of us is in bed, so we do not talk. In addition to that, the only information I have to contact her with is her Instagram, which she never goes on. Basically, communication is nearly entirely out of the picture here. She had a boyfriend for a couple of months that would be in our room constantly. I went to shower once, came back in only a bathrobe, and he was in my room. I asked him to leave, and he was knocking on the door 2 minutes later to come back in.
Oh, sorry. I don't know how that came up.
No, talk about Renee.
You know how Renee, I was killing a notification. You know when the little flag notification pops up?
No.
You don't have your settings like that?
Nope.
Go on. Go on.
Wait, do you mean just like a little banner coming
Yeah,
down?
the little banner. I was killing the banner, but
Oh,
it
and you
turned out
accidentally tapped on
the
it.
banner killed me.
Yes. Anyway. Okay, so
Boyfriend in the room when you're
yeah,
out
boyfriend
of
in the room.
bathrobe.
Okay, I asked him to leave. He was knocking on the door 2 minutes later to come back in. I would wake up to him coming in my dorm at 7 frequently.
Whoa.
That and a multitude of other reasons are why I'm overjoyed that they have broken up. Another thing, wait, where is it? I haven't. Oh my! I can't. Wait, where is it?
Oh, I think I sent you the screenshot wrong. But oh, it was that she sleeps. The roommate like sleeps all day.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
feel like
she's like a sloth.
I feel like I can't even move around or make a sound in my own living space because I don't want to be rude. I haven't gotten to use a hair dryer in months because the bathroom has no outlet and she's always in bed.
Oh God.
Well, it sounds like that's an issue with the bathroom.
Yeah.
The final thing that is okay, this is fucked up. The final Lucas, you read this because I'm gonna laugh.
The final thing that is pissing me off is the constant smell of fucking noodles. She makes ramen nearly nightly, and it smells like shit. It absolutely reeks.
Okay, never mind. The person who wrote this ordered this all perfectly. This should have been the grand finale. If you had started off with, I have a Chinese roommate. First of all, the fucking noodles. That would have been a mistake.
You can smell it across the entire dorm floor. It is keeping me up at night because it's so fucking gross. It makes me want to puke just a little. My air freshener isn't strong enough to mask the smell. I can't open a window because it is below 0 outside, and she already turned the heat up way too fucking high. I can't stand the lack of fresh smells in my room. I worry the smell is going to stick to my clothes, so I began making my friends sniff me to make sure I don't smell like noodles. In conclusion, what do I do? I want both serious and silly advice. Do I just get more air fresheners? Do I try to transfer to a new room? Yeah.
Yeah, the serious answer is transfer to a new room. Now let's do silly answers.
Okay, the silly answer, you are racist. You need to smell like more noodles.
Yeah.
You need to increase the factor of noodles in your odor.
I had a bad roommate randomly assigned my freshman year also. It's like similar situation with a lot of the same stuff. Would sleep all day, stay up all night. He would also take like crazy long showers.
Ooh.
And he was kind of a sociopath. I remember one time we went to college, he had like one friend on campus. I had one friend, but my friend had another friend. And I found kind of a group. We're all freshmen, so I'm inviting him along also. I'm like, yeah, you come too. And like one of the first nights, he tells us, we're just hanging out, and he tells a story of a thing that happened to him. It was like word for word a closing bit from a Mike Birbiglia special. The what I should have said was nothing. It was that story, the moving the couch, what I should have said. He tells this whole story, and I recognized...
We were talking recently about pathological liar
yes,
kids.
Yeah.
But go on, yeah.
He tells this story as if it happened to him, and the other kids at the table, who I also kind of just met, are like laughing and riveted by this story, and I do not know what to do. I've never since or before been in a situation like that, where someone is full on telling a story that I know is a stand-up comedian's joke. And I wasn't doing comedy at the time either, but it's still like...
Do you know what I would have done? Is I would have gone, oh my God, I love that Mike Birbiglia bit. I would pretend as if he was quoting the bit.
I did
and
think
just
about... At the end, he's like, what I should have said was nothing. Instead, what I said was, I forgot what the punchline is, but at the time I knew it. I should have just guessed the punchline.
You should have, yeah. That would have been the best thing.
I feel like if that, like, my genuine answer to that would have been to be like, oh my God, the same thing happened to Mike Birbiglia.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the person would have been like, wow, what a coincidence.
But I just remember at the time, I was 18 and had no idea how to like actually like it was triple. We were freshmen, we're in 3 people to a room, and maybe midway through the year at some point you might get tripled. And in the beginning of the year, I didn't know the other 2 guys, so I was like, I'll move out. I have no connection to you guys or here. But then as the year came on, me and the other roommate were really good friends, and this guy pissed us both off constantly. And so it became clear he would have to move out.
Yeah.
In the meantime, this is not the way anyone should handle a situation like this, but I'll be honest, it is how we handled it. We just fucked with him. Like, I remember one night specifically, he told us that he had done some stand-up comedy. And the way the room was set up, it was 2 top bunks and 1 bottom bunk and a desk on this side. So me and my other roommate are on the top bunks. He's on the bottom bunk. And we're like, all right, tell us some of the jokes you would do. And he does. I don't remember any of them, but we didn't even know when the joke was for us to pretend to laugh. So it was just, he was like, oh, well, he's Greek. And he's like, well, I did it in Greece and I did it in Greek. It's probably funnier in Greek. We're like, tell it to us. We both kind of look at each other over the top bunks. We're like, tell it to us in Greek. And he would just say the joke in Greek. And whenever he stopped talking, we would just burst out laughing as it was the funniest thing we'd ever heard.
That's hilarious. I really like that.
And I remember that, and I remember one night. This is I'm not proud of doing it. I regret doing this, but we would work out in the room sometimes at night, and we told him, we're gonna work out now. If you're gonna shower, do it now, because you take very long showers, so we can shower after we work out. And he's like, no, I'm good. And he's just like on his computer with his headphones in, like an hour into the workout. He's like, I'm just gonna take a quick shower. Actually, I'll be out by the time you guys are done. He's in there for like an hour. So we took a bunch of hair gel and put it in his pillowcase.
Good. Yeah.
And sprayed air freshener all over his food that he had in the room.
His smelly noodles.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it was it was Lysol. We sprayed.
Oh, much better. Oh, thank God. Yeah.
It was
That's
something
good.
bad.
I'm glad it was
But
poison.
you tried to be upfront and honestly
Yes.
accommodating.
Yeah.
You tried.
I wouldn't give him the benefit of the
I
doubt
wouldn't.
on this.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
I think he fucked
And
with it.
then we wake up the next day.
No, I'm saying that he did everything okay. by putting the hair gel in the like. Yeah,
That
but
was-
he was a
that's okay
bad
to do.
guy. He was a bad guy. He
Yeah.
yeah.
So then the next morning we wake up, and he's like, "Guys, I don't know if you guys know what happened. There's a bunch of hair gel on my pillow," and we both were like, "Well, I have no,
What?
we didn't know anything happened." And then I was like, out with some other of my friends during the day and came up with an idea. Came back and I was like, "Dude, I talked to some of the other kids. Apparently, they're like frat guys who are just going around freshman dorms and doing fucked up stuff to all the kids' things."
Oh my.
And there's like a pause for a few seconds. Then he goes, how did they even get in here? I'm like, yes, he bought it.
I love. Isn't it great when someone's dumb? It's kind of great.
Lucas, this is what you do to me. You love lying to me.
I'm like, here's a terrible thing I did. And every bit of the way, Lucas is like, this all sounds normal. This is great.
Lucas loves lying to me. He'll sometimes. What is the thing you said about someone being Korean when they weren't?
Oh no! We were talking about the SpongeBob musical.
Yeah.
and I was like, it's crazy they didn't go into the fact that Patrick is Korean.
Yeah.
But I'm
It's
always,
a fun lie.
I'm
Yeah.
always partly like, what?
Yeah. No, that's fun. I do like, I remember when,
Can I tell you a life bit that I do? It's
Yeah.
not like for stage, but it's just for me. It's anytime that if I'm walking with someone, I see a squirrel. It could be any animal. I'm like, and we'll be like, oh, it's so cute. I'm like, that's a devout Muslim.
yeah.
I love doing that.
Yeah.
Well, that's
It's
all true.
I did. I'll sometimes just like throw out lies that no one ever ends up it never ends up being brought up again. But if it does, it'll be real funny. When I lived with Mark Henley and Ben Miller, two other comedians, and we first moved in together. Me and Ben would sometimes stay up at night and play chess.
Sure.
And he wins 49 times out of 50. Like I would win every once in a while, but he was better than me. We played that first night and he beats me like every time. The next morning, he's still asleep and I'm up with Mark, and I just told him, he went to bed when we were playing chess. He asked how it went. I was like, I don't think Ben's going to want to talk about it. He's kind of like a little bit secretly competitive. I beat him pretty badly. So like, don't bring it up or anything, but I beat him real bad. I don't know if this is ever going to come up again. It's like weeks later, Mark makes some joke about me being better than him at chess, and he's legitimately upset. He's like, wait, what happened? And I'm like, I told you, he's not going to admit it.
That's so funny.
And so Mark did not know who to believe.
I love this.
That is so
Yeah.
good. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Little like harmless, fun lies like that.
Yeah,
Those are
Absolutely.
fun. Yeah.
And it's also, anytime I do this, I never let it go longer than a minute without being like, yeah, I'm kidding.
That's not true because
It's-
remember the 3
That is
days
true.
in Scotland?
That is true. And no, and I genuinely felt bad about that.
The 3
I
days.
really felt bad. No, I did something that was actually not okay.
It was pretty funny. He
little-
told me there's a street in Scotland called Cockburn Street.
Yeah.
And he told me it was. I still don't know the truth. Is it pronounced Coburn?
No.
Okay, he told me that's actually pronounced Coburn.
Yeah.
And I freaked out. I was like, no way. That's I hate
Because
the
you know how they
British.
sometimes have
Yeah.
like different pronunciations for stuff.
So I go on stage and I'm like, do you guys know it's pronounced Coburn? And all the Scottish people are like, no, it's not. I like bombed the set.
That's so funny.
30 minutes of just these Scottish people being like,
Yeah.
this moron.
And it
thinks it's
took me so long for me to remember. Oh, I told you.
Yeah.
This is totally on me. And during your set, I was like, wait, I'm so sorry. That wasn't true.
Yeah, I think it was like our 4th show. You screamed like, "Sorry, Gabby, I was lying to you."
I really didn't mean for it to. And
That's
I
a good way to
completely-
fuck with the Chinese roommate, though. Maybe
Oh, that's what you should do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
sit-
how good is her English though?
it's.
I mean, if her English is really good, then maybe you can't really. That was like, because I grew up in Queens, so my junior high school lunch table was like the United Nations.
Yeah.
And anytime there was like a foreign kid, there was a Chinese kid who didn't speak English that well, and we just taught him all these terrible words and told him that they meant nice things. He would like go to teachers cursing at them, thinking he was like saying something, like asking them for the homework.
Yeah,
and I love that.
Yeah.
that is wonderful.
All right, we got one more listener submission. And it's
Tell me, this is actually, I'm probably not going to come out of this in a good light, but.
Okay.
No, but when I was in college in my second year, I lived in this place. It was this dorm where it was all single rooms. And there was this room like a couple doors down the hall where they were just playing really loud music, and it was like well into the night. and it was so loud. And I went up to them, I knocked on their door, I was like, hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but it's like, I hate to ask this, but could you keep it down a little bit, because like I'm trying to sleep, and it was like 2 a.m. on like a Tuesday, and I was like, and they were like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, and then they would just like keep going, and this happened multiple times, and multiple times I went up to them and tried to be like honest, face to face, like, hey, please, I'm sorry, but like, and then it just kept, and then after a while I was like, well, being honest isn't working, and so what I did is I wrote a note, slipped it under their door, then went back to my room and shut the door and turned off the light, pretending like I wasn't there. And then they like, I heard them open the door, read it, and then they walked down the hall, knocked on my door, and I just didn't answer it. I pretended like I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But then they stopped doing it ever again.
What was the note?
No, the note, it was literally just asking, hey, please stop.
Oh.
It wasn't anything crazy. But I
What was
basically
the Jersey Shore note? Sam, the first night you were gone, who you made out with. Do you guys remember this?
No.
Well, hold on. Let's just note that the idea of a stranger asking them to turn it down was more intimidating than you in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I think that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I think I was like, I need to add an element of mystery.
Yes.
I need mystery to create a little bit of fear.
Yeah.
There's an iconic moment in Jersey Shore, which I never really watched, but I see it on Twitter sometimes. It's written to Sammy by Snooki and JWoww.
Okay.
And it reads, Sam, the first night at BED when you left, Ron made out with 2 girls and put his head between a cocktail waitress's breasts. Also was grinding with multiple fat women. When you left crying at Clutch, Ron was holding hands and dancing with a female and took down her number.
Female.
Multiple people in the house know, therefore you should know the truth. Use this information wisely. I'm laughing. I'm like, is that the note you left for
Yeah.
them?
100%. Yeah. 100%. No, it was so much shorter, but then they stopped, and I was like,
Yeah.
and I hated that I had to choose deceit.
Yeah.
But it did work.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like when honestly, it's like when I do some like fuckboy thing to get a girl to like me. I'm like, I hate that I had to do this, but got the girl.
Does it really work?
It's so annoying how it's like things of like don't
would you do?
respond to the text immediately.
Oh, yeah. That's just human behavior stuff.
yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah,
Playing hard to
don't see
get,
that. Don't
yeah.
see them viewing their stories.
Oh my god.
Like, yeah.
What is that about? Okay,
Yeah.
so a few episodes ago we talked about the grapefruit technique. Are you familiar?
I don't
Oh, the
think so.
the grapefruit method.
The
You've never
grapefruit
seen it?
method? I don't think so.
Oh, we gotta show you the
I don't
video
know if I know
after.
this.
Oh my god, you're
Someone
gonna love
wrote
it.
in, Gen Z here, I did not know about the grapefruit method until this moment. I think that might be the only good use of a grapefruit. So
Wow.
the grapefruit method is, it's a woman named Angel something,
Yeah.
and she talks about grapefruiting your man.
Yeah.
And it's basically like you
You cut off the 2 ends, so you just like
you
off of the
hollow
top.
out a grapefruit.
You hollow it out, and then you use it, and then you put it in the microwave, I think, a little bit to warm it up
Yeah, and then you use it as like a fleshlight.
as like a sleeve,
Yeah.
and then you just go.
That's the best part of the video is the
Yeah.
woman goes, all right, so you start off, you give your man some head.
I'd
The
heard,
sound is like crazy.
The sound is
yeah.
the thing. Yeah.
Have you ever heard? There's a joke about a promiscuous woman who puts a grapefruit in her vagina. You ever heard that one?
No.
So there's a promiscuous woman who's she's slept with so many guys now that her vagina's kind of loose, and so she asked her mom for some advice on what to do. And her mom says, if you put a grapefruit up in there,
That's
it'll
not
tighten
real,
it right
is
up.
it? This must be urban legend.
It's a street joke. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah, no,
it's
go
not
on,
a real
yeah.
story.
So you put the grapefruit up there.
Puts the
and
grapefruit up there and it tightens it right up, and she meets this guy she's been like waiting to have sex with because she doesn't want him to see her loose vagina. Puts the grapefruit in, sleeps with the guy, and everything's great. And she asks him to marry. He asks him to marry. They're like gonna have this happy relationship, and then the night of the wedding, they're consummating the marriage, and the grapefruit falls out.
the sequencing of this is crazy. They have sex one time. He says, "Will you marry me?"
Yeah. That's how it works sometimes.
This is how straight love happens.
I mean, if you put a grapefruit up your pussy, that it's gonna make the sex good enough, you'll propose.
Wait, is it just like a whole like nothing, not tampered with grapefruit?
Yeah. You don't want to fuck it. You don't want to do anything with it before you put it in there.
No, but like
She changes
it's
it
not,
out of- probably
it's not
changes it-
hollowed out. It's just a whole. It's
Just a whole grapefruit.
I just-
Maybe change it out every once
So wait,
in a
it
while.
falls out and
It
then
falls out, And the husband is now freaking out. He leaves, and she calls her mom and says, "Mom, what?
Why is the mom so experienced with this? Sorry to keep cutting you off, but this is the craziest street joke I've ever heard.
The mom, you call your mom when you're in a situation like this. She calls her mom.
It's like the aristocrat.
Yeah.
It's just
She
insane.
calls her mom and says, "What do I do? My grapefruit fell out. I don't know what to do." And she goes, "I don't know. Nothing ever happened like that with my watermelon."
Oh, that's why. That's why she knows.
I can't believe I still somehow landed that.
I'm so angry.
It's a great joke.
The logistics really make me upset. She puts it up. She meets the man of her dreams. They have sex. He immediately, will you
Proposes.
marry me? Will you? They have a whole wedding. Do you think she's telling her friends like this is only happening because her friends are like, "Girl, he should love you for you."
You don't need that grapefruit, girl.
Girl, get rid of it. At the bachelorette party, she takes it out and she puts it back in.
Wait, was it one grapefruit the whole time?
Maybe changes it out. Has to take it out and put tampons in, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Do you know how ladies have to
That's
do
why that's why when girls are like, "I don't want to have sex on my period," I'm like, "What are you really hiding in there? Is there a grapefruit in there?"
Oh my god.
I don't think anything has ever broken me like this.
Yeah. So anyway, is that the grapefruit method you guys are talking about?
It is now. It is now.
Oh,
You all right?
okay.
You ready to go?
I'm gonna be fine. We're coming to the end.
All right, we're coming to the end. Final thing. Okay, it's
Yeah.
two-parter. First up, self-perception corner. We ask our guest to describe how they believe they're perceived by other people, and then we say how we actually perceive you.
I would say, I think the way people perceive me, I would say approachable, nice. Well, actually, so without knowing me, maybe a little bit like football player jock-like. Once talking to me, I feel like people feel more comfortable around me. Think I'm funny and nice and non-threatening. And I generally feel like people are comfortable with me once we're in conversation. People like sometimes overshare with me. So I think that would kind of cover it. I think in comedy also I get a lot of the was a jock bully vibe until I think usually once people talk to me and get to know me and they see that that's not who I am.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I first saw you, I was probably like, "Who is this asshole?"
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you were probably doing like a fight club, and I was probably like, this straight white man, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, yeah, when we first had a conversation, I was like, "Oh, this guy's like so fun." And then
Yeah.
we've only really gotten to know each other like over the past year, I'd say,
Yeah.
better because we were just sending each other like baseball stuff.
For a while, yeah, we would
Yeah.
just send each other baseball memes.
Yeah, but you're so much fun.
Thank you.
Like that is so
Yeah.
it is so fun to hang out with you. You just make every interaction like so like happy and positive.
Thank
like,
you.
You're just
I do actually.
Yeah.
I think now it's more natural, but for a while I did make a conscious effort.
Yeah.
To do that. So yeah,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of times, so many things. It's like if you just have a thing you kind of want to do, start doing it, and even if you're kind of manufacturing it at first, eventually it just becomes like who you are.
Yeah.
It becomes natural.
and everyone
Yeah.
likes you, even the most like skeptical non-binary people. Like,
You think so?
yeah, I think so. Like everyone likes you.
Thank
yeah,
you. Okay,
yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
transit from being a heel professional wrestler.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the heel thing is so funny to me. That
Yeah, I got really good at. I guess briefly, I mentioned that I always kind of liked the bad guys. Once I started, like, they saw that I could talk and have a personality, and they were like, "Okay, we'll make you." I got really into being like the villain in a way of like I didn't want to be like a cool bad guy. Like I wanted people to legitimately hate me. There were times after wrestling shows, fans would like wait for me after shows to fight me. And I thought, hell yeah, I'm doing it. They would always say, like, I know it's fake, but you went too far, which I definitely did. In hindsight,
Yeah.
I was like 20 and hitting on girls in the crowd with their boyfriend right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And saying she'd love to trade up and be with a real man like me. Like, but
I bet she's got a grapefruit. That's
yeah. But yeah, I got really good at legitimately making people not like me. And then switching to comedy, it was like, there's like, you could be the cool bad guy.
Yeah.
But like, I remember Dark Knight came out, and I remember everyone dressing up as Joker and thinking, oh, if I'm the villain, I don't want anyone to ever dress up as me. Because I feel like if Heath Ledger lives, the next movie, Joker can't really be the villain again.
Yeah, that's true.
And I wanted to have a career as a villain. So, I mean, I was also pretty immature at the time. So I was like, yeah, I'll fucking say whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like an edgelord version of pro wrestlers also.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
If I could say, though, the first time I ever saw you was just on a show we were both booked on. And so my first ever seeing you, I was just like, oh, he's a really good joke writer.
Oh, thank you.
I really
Yeah.
just liked your stand-up. And then I saw that you were like this roast battle host, and I was like, oh shit, it was very different.
Yeah.
And then what I was expecting, because I saw you just as a stand-up.
Yeah.
And like, I think you're such a smart writer. You also really helped me realize that I was actually wrong for something, because like there was someone who asked me to write some roast jokes for them, and I talked about it so openly.
Yeah.
And you told me, no, if you hire me to write roast jokes, I think part of it is that I don't talk about that. Like you
Yeah.
have hired me for a service, and you get to keep the rights to that service. So I
Yeah.
don't. And I was like, oh wow, I think I was actually being immature. You like helped me see a part of myself that was a little immature,
Yeah.
or didn't make the leap of thought. And so
Okay,
like,
I mean, I
I
feel-
really do
yeah.
see you as someone with wisdom. That's what I'm
Oh,
trying to
thank
say.
you.
Is that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see a lot of, I receive a lot of wisdom from you.
Oh,
I really
thank
do.
you. I hope you didn't take it as like me telling
Oh,
you
no,
you
no,
were
no, no.
immature.
No,
If anything,
it
I
wasn't.
feel like if
Totally internal. Totally, it
yeah,
wasn't
if
you-
somebody
yeah.
were to like say that to me, I would say, "Here's the way I view it." But I also, if then they were like, "Oh, I don't see it that way. I'm still gonna do it," I wouldn't take that personally either.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, but what
But
you
yeah,
said,
I do. I feel like
what you said just made so much sense, and I
Yeah.
was like, I like what he said, and I think what I was doing was like, it was, and like nobody's perfect, but I was like, oh, I should change. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think there's a thing, especially like in the roast world, especially when the Comedy Central roasts were on, you would see the amount of people who would say, I wrote for this Comedy Central roast. There were more people saying they wrote for the roast than there were jokes on the roast.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because, and yeah, and I always thought that, I don't know, if I'm writing for other comedians, they know that I've written for them. They know that I'm a good writer. That's like, I feel like
That's the beginning and end of it.
yeah, and they're gonna tell people for you. And I feel like anytime I'm around someone, I don't feel like you were doing this, but in general,
No,
when I'm
I-
around people who are like almost like throwing their credits at you,
Right.
it
yeah.
makes me think like, why do you feel like you need to do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do actually like that. Yeah, we saw each other on a show first, because usually it's the opposite. Because
Yeah.
Fight Club, of the things I do, is the thing that most people see. A lot of people like will see me at Fight Club, and then they'll see me at a show and be like, "Oh, I never seen your stand up before."
Yeah.
I've even had some people ask me if I do stand up because they've only seen me roast before. It's like
Right.
I do way more I do the roast once a week.
Yeah.
doing stand up all the time. Every
Yeah.
other time.
That happened
yeah.
to me once after Fight Club. Some guy was, oh no, maybe it was after Grove. Some guy was like, you're really good at these roasts. Have you thought about trying stand up?
That's hilarious.
Wow. This
Yeah.
gets me every time.
No, second part though.
Yeah.
Where do you prophecy corner? Where do
Yeah.
you, and you can be silly with it. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see where's the Matt Maron train going?
I think I got to come up with something silly, because I don't actually do the like, where are you in 5 years? And because I guess I'll be a little serious that I just like work hard and just am constantly like doing stuff. And I feel like if you are being positive and putting work out, then you're being positive to the people around you, good things will happen. Just especially in comedy, just the things that when I first started comedy, you would have thought of like goals 5 years later didn't mean anything anymore.
That's so true.
Like
yeah.
there's so many, and when I first started doing comedy, if you told me I was going to be in the New York Times, I would have been like, oh, I'll be famous and making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I've been in the New York Times now, and it's like, I guess it was a cool thing, but yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
there could be a thing where I'm like, I'd love for a Comedy Fight Club gets picked up and is on a streamer, but in 5 years, streamers may not be a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Or it's on television, but then you find out, oh, you're in television, you could still make no money. Like,
Yeah.
who knows what it is? Or I'm touring on the road doing shows, but I'm selling out, but I don't know, something terrible happened to my personal. Like, there's way too many like variables, but in general, I believe I'm still doing comedy and better at it than I am now, and I have more things to look back on. Hopefully, no more surgeries.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good goal. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I'll still be doing comedy and kind of just at everything in life. I'll be better. I'll be more experienced. I'll be smarter, and hopefully just being better, a better me, and better to other people. And fucking a lot of women.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's our king. Make sure you get that grapefruit. Otherwise, it's going to go bad.
Yeah.
Matt, you've been a great guest.
You've been amazing.
Stick
Plug
around.
and promote. Where can the people find you?
I'm
Anything you got coming up?
at Real Matt Maran on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everything. And Comedy Fight Club is every Sunday night at Lucky Jack's at Comedy Fight NYC. And youtube.com/Comedy Fight Club. Subscribe to the channels and all the social stuff, because that's kind of like as there's more views and comments and everything coming in, that's how we can start getting more money through the monetization on YouTube and be able to tour a bit. We're doing a show in Long Island coming up over the summer. We've done a few in the past in like Connecticut, Philly. The more money we make, the more we can travel with the show, and we can start paying more of the roasters on the show also.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's wonderful. I have First Impressions coming up, my monthly show. We are back at Bushwick Comedy Club March 5th. Otherwise, I have tour dates. I'm going to Appleton, Wisconsin, City of Dreams.
Yep.
I'm going to Tacoma, Washington. I'm going to San Diego. I'm going everywhere, baby. I'm coming to you. All right, so buy tickets. Go to my website. Go to my socials. It'll be linked there, and I'll see you on the road.
Buy his tickets. At some point, my special will come out on YouTube, and hopefully that'll happen and be fun. And then, yeah, I'm gonna be around. Fund us on Patreon so that I can pay for Ozempic one day. And thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. You've been a great guest. And stick
Stick
around,
around on
guys. We're going to do a
Patreon.
quick Patreon segment.
See you there.